child that your skin can bring you so much pain. Now I hear you say you got the best of both ways. Won't you come and take a walk in my shoes and tell me if you take my place? Under cover of my skin, I've heard all your name.
Welcome to day one of the 2025 World Championship Daily Shows, where we're taking a deep dive into all things distance running. This episode, we'll be discussing the women's 10K final, men's and women's 1500 metre heats, men's steeple, and the women's marathon. To help me, I'm joined by two stars who between them have competed at 5 World Track and Field Championships. My first co-host represented Australia at the 2019 World Champs, finishing 13th in the women's 10,000 metres in a PB of 31.18. Welcome, Ellie Pashley.
Thanks, Brad. Yeah, I think our other co-host has got the majority of our Australian kits there, but
we both got more than me. Watching the women's 10,000 metre race last night, did it bring back some memories?
Yeah, it did. It did. I feel like 10,000 metre track races have become more brutal though since 2019. Like a kick down race that's now running 30 minutes is pretty wild. So yeah, I was pretty happy not to be out there, to be honest, with the way that it yo-yoed.
No air-conditioned stadium either.
Yeah, I know. That would have sucked for them. Our little Doha aircon, I can't remember what they got it down to, but it was definitely like low 20s or something. It was pretty nice.
And I noticed on Strava you haven't posted for almost a week now. Is everything okay?
Oh, yeah. I actually have run, but I had a bit of a psychological stress fracture earlier in the week. So I had a sore quad, and I don't know about you. I thought it was DOMS, and then it went on for about 5 days and only on one side. And I was like, a sore quad's not really that common in a slow, long distance runner. So I was a bit worried I'd given myself a femoral stressy, but I had a day off. It actually started to get a little bit better. I jogged after a session one day, and then the next, I was like, it's still not right. So I had a day off, and then I actually have jogged the last couple of days, and I think it's okay. It's a lot better after that rest day. So I'm hoping that it doesn't come back with a vengeance this week. But I think it might have actually just been like a really mild quad strain. I had a bit of a stack on a trail last week, and something might have happened then, which I didn't feel at the time, or I don't know. But yeah, I was messaging Jules saying I'm a bit nervous about this one. I might scan it next week, and then it actually, hopefully has come good. So
hopefully it doesn't derail your comeback, because I think I was listening to the monthly during the week, and Brady had locked you in for Melbourne Marathon this year.
Yeah, nah. I don't think that'll be happening. I think that's a bit too soon, but yeah, I actually would have quite liked to do Melbourne, but I think I need to give myself a bit more time, especially if I'm getting stressies off sub 100K weeks. That's a bit of a worry, isn't it?
Yeah. All right, we'll introduce our other co-host. He competed at 4 World Championships, reaching the semi-finals on 2 occasions. He's also the Australian 1,000 metre record holder. Welcome back to the Inside Running podcast, Jeff Riseley.
Thanks for having me, Crokes. Love chatting ass, so yeah, happy to be here.
Well, we're pretty lucky to have you, because when you were on sort of the regular show after Melbourne last year, there was talk about running Berlin Marathon.
Yeah.
But you've had a few issues with calves, so I suppose
we chatted about our calves the other day.
Having issues with your calves means we get you rather than you being over in Berlin.
Yeah. Start of the year had a disc bulge and really bad sciatica where I couldn't get out of bed for about a week, couldn't drive a car. It was, it's the most agony pain I've ever been in my life. And then, just still struggling tight, like through that right glute. Calf strain came on the right leg. So, trying to sort of do a bit in the gym and just gradually build back low. I think I had like a 40K week this week. So I'm trying to get a little bit fitter and, also just coaching so much that I just not really having a lot of space for my own kind of goals. So I feel like I need to find a goal, because as soon as you've got a bit of goal, it just gives you doing Melbourne Marathon gave me a lot of motivation, and I was learning and it was new. So it needs something else. So whether I get on the track and go back to the 800 and maybe do some mileage races,
Smash a few
we'll see
kids
what
in BD grade of milers.
Yeah, well, I was half thinking about maybe I'd try and make the Vic 800 meter final. That could be like just a little bit of fun, but the coaching group's growing, and like if you've got 18 to 20 kids racing at a Vic Milers, it's really hard to have your own focus. So we'll see how it goes.
All right, well, let's
Gotta
get
be
started.
careful of those calves in the spikes too, Jeff.
Yeah, though the Dragonflies are a lot better than what I used to race in. So
Yeah, that's true.
All right, before we recap all the events, we're going to throw to a guy who thinks he's the star of this show, but he's over on the track at the moment, right, literally on the track. Moose, how are you?
I'm good, mate. Yep, down on the track on the Mondo, doing a bit of a tour with ASICS as a guest of theirs over here. Got to see the marathon this morning, and just feeling the heat and making some very, very good comparisons with Doha 2019.
Huh. What's the weather like, Moose?
Well, not as hot as Doha 2019, mate, but still warm out there. It's sticky. It's humid. That's probably the issue. Without the sun, it's not too bad. But then once the sun hits, temperature just feels like it goes up 15 degrees. And inside this track, there's not a lot of air movement or airflow. So they don't get the luxury of what Ellie had running in an air-conditioned stadium back in the day. It's pretty sticky in here.
And what commitments do you have over there, Moose? What are you doing for the rest of the day?
No, we're spectating, basically, athletics fans here. So we've got some good tickets. Like our seats are behind the 100-metre finish line, or the finish line of all the races. So we get to see what happens right at the end. And we're just here for a morning session tomorrow to watch the men's marathon, and then night sessions just a few days after that. I'm not sure that, there's a few little ASICS things here and there, but yeah, it's pretty much just nuffy time over here.
And what's been the highlight so far for you?
Oh, the sprint finish in the women's marathon. That was epic. Being in the stadium, watching them come up from the outside, the whole stadium sort of erupts because you're able to follow on the screen, and then you see them head down the race, and then they hit the track and everyone just goes wild, and yeah, it's fucking epic. There has to be stadium finishes at every championship. Today confirmed that.
The track was full?
No, it wasn't full. It was probably half full. Morning session, pretty hot, nothing really going on. Men's 15 and then the marathon finish. So it's not a full day in here. Yeah. But it's pretty cool to see the Aussie girls finish. Everyone, they embraced the finish line. Probably didn't see that on the footage, but it was cool to watch as an Australian. And also the third place, the Greek chick, she finished. I'm not sure what you saw on TV.
Uruguay.
Moose.
Oh yeah, sorry, Uruguay. Same colours. She finished and had absolutely no idea what to do. Didn't know if it was the finish, where she came, if she needed another lap, and no one really approached her whatsoever. So and then just to see the realization of what happened, it was fucking, it fired you up. It got a bit, it was a pretty emotional moment actually.
Yeah, I nearly cried. That was so fun to watch. Where they actually tracked her whole last lap and her finish, and then they followed her while she was working out what was going on, and it was just yeah. I don't know what it is about those moments where such a shock. It's so fun to watch.
Yeah, the sunnies went back on there. Sun came out at that moment.
You love a cry, don't you, Jules?
Bumped into any superstars over there, Moose?
Actually, Andy Badley is on my have a look back there. Andy Badley's on my tour of the stadium. Josh Kerr's staying in a hotel. To be honest, mate, I'm probably the biggest superstar I've run into at the moment. Just woke up.
Any more questions, Ellie, before we let him go?
Nah, not at the moment.
Thanks, Moose.
Yeah, I'll check in another day.
All right, see you, mate.
See ya.
All right, well, now that we've heard from Moose, let's get stuck into the result. I thought we'll start with the women's 1,500 metres. We'll just go through sort of each heat, sort of how it was run, how the Aussies fared, and we can comment on it. So heat 1, we had Jess Hull. She got the win there in 4:04. It was like 67, 69, 64, 60. Thought Jess was tactically perfect on this one. She seemed to just sit on the outside shoulder of Sinclair Johnson. Thoughts?
You go, Jeff.
Yeah, well, Olympic silver medals, you just kind of expect her to breeze through these. So, yeah, was in the right spots. Obviously, her last race was the Diamond League, where it was probably, coming down from altitude, big loads, and, had a real bad rig up in that last 50. But so I don't know how much that shakes the confidence a little bit going into a major chance. But yeah, just did everything we've seen Jess do for the last few years now, just taking care of business.
How much do you reckon, once you've made a name for yourself, so you're a Jess Hull, you're a Faith Kipyegon, you're a Jakob Ingebrigtsen, how much do the other athletes sort of give you a little bit of respect in those heats and almost let you go wherever you want?
Massive, and we'll talk about it later, but when we go through the men's 15s, but if you just saw Laros roll from 800 to 900, went from about 10th to about 1st, and just kind of let him go through. Yeah, I definitely think, and we even saw it in Faith's race, she just went to the front, and it's nearly like those other athletes are looking for those kind of athletes to make the race, so that then they can make the race, judge their race off them.
Yeah.
Jess said she got a bit of confidence from that too. She said she now is in the call room and she feels like they're looking at her as the major threat, and that's sort of pretty cool, and she feels like she thrives off that a bit. So pretty fun position for her to be in after last year's medal.
So heat 2, we had Lyndon Hall. This was a little bit slower than the first heat. They went 72 high and then 69. After 800, Lyndon pretty much went to the front and really kicked it down. Ran 60 seconds from 800 to 1200.
Yeah, 59.8, I think it was.
Yeah, and a 61 last lap. So Lyndon finished 4th in that, 4:07.61. It was first 6 for each heat, got through. The heat was won by Chepchirchir, 4:07. Personally, I felt like Lyndon almost looked like she was sort of really climbing stairs in the last 50. I think that sort of 60 seconds from 8 to 12 plus having the gas on the last 300 probably took a lot out of those girls.
They were all climbing stairs though. It was carnage in that last 100.
Yeah. The one thing that stood out for me with these women's 1500 heats was that every heat was run in a different way. And once we've gone through all of them, I'll ask both of you, which way do you think would conserve the most energy? So that was heat 2. Heat 3.
Then had a bit of a vomit after the race too, so she was obviously, in the middle of an interview. So it obviously did get her those last couple of laps. Yeah.
Heat 3, we had Sarah Billings. So this was a bit more of an even pace race. So it was 65, not even pace, but faster. 65, 68, 63. Last lap of 60.5. Halu picked up the pace after 801 in 4:01.23. Unfortunately, Sarah finished 9th in 4:06.22, so she won't be progressing to the semi-finals. Thoughts on that heat, Ellie?
Yeah, I think Sarah's such a good kicker coming from a sprint background, but it just looked like she didn't have that left at the end. And yeah, she was sort of still there, and then she faded quite a bit in the last 50 or 100 meters. So long season, she was running really well earlier in the year. Whether it's just been a bit difficult for her to maintain for this long, it was a shame to see because she has had such a breakout year. But she just wasn't strong enough to be able to use her kick there when they really kicked it down at the end.
From a selection point of view, do you think if the selectors had their time again, and hindsight's a great, wonderful thing, they probably wouldn't have pre-selected her after Nationals, given how much depth we have in that event? Because I have no doubt that when the selectors sit down to choose the team, if Sarah wasn't pre-selected, I reckon they're going Georgia Griffith.
Yeah, but and that's it. You can say that in hindsight now that we've seen what's happened. But Sarah had such a good start to the year. World Indoors, Australian domestic season, and she'd really made huge leaps and bounds in the last 12 months, and then nearly knocked off Jess Hull at Nationals. You can see why at that point in time they thought, she's on here, she's getting better and better. But then Georgia Griffith has just like been incredible the last few months. So yeah, obviously if they knew what was going to happen, I'm sure that they probably would have put her in the 800. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty difficult if they're going to make those calls at that point in time. Then they're kind of guessing, aren't they, what's going to happen over the next few months? And maybe, yeah, like Jess Hull was probably not in her full fitness at that point either. And you sometimes see that with the Aussie domestic season. Sometimes the people that can push their peak back a little bit do well at the major championships, but you've got to get on the team first. So